Guys, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about a very heartbreaking story that it just happened last week, and I can already tell it's going to be one of those stories, kind of like the Casey Anthony situation, where everybody's going to be focused on it. Everybody's going to be talking about it just because the nature of this crime. This man, Chad, he decided for some unknown reason to line his three boys up out in the yard and shoot them execution style. So this video is going to come with an automatic trigger warning. Most content on this channel will come with a trigger warning. We're going to roll the intro and give YouTube time to send out notifications, and then we're going to get started with this story. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and show y'all who we are talking about. Last night, I uploaded some body cam footage and his bond hearing. So this man's name is Chad Doerman. I'm going to go ahead and screen share his Facebook page with you guys so you guys can get a idea of who he is and his children as well. So this is him right here. This is Chad. Chad is his name is Chad Christopher Doerman. He is 32 years old. He is from Claremont County in Ohio. His wife's name is believed to be Laura, and she is 34 years old. They had three children together. Now, Laura, we're going to call her Laura. That's what they're saying. His wife's name is Laura. But Laura had a daughter before she got with Chad. Her daughter's name is allegedly Alexis. Alexis is allegedly 16. These are ages to be believed and names to be believed. We haven't gotten like solid confirmation to my knowledge that these in fact are their names, but this is what's being put out. So Chad Christopher Doerman, 32, wife named Laura, who is 34, teenage stepdaughter who is 16. Her name is Alexis. And then they had three boys together, ages 3, 4, and 7. And their names are believed to be Hunter, Clayton, and Chase. Now, it said that these boys loved the outdoors and they were best friends with each other. They were close in age, especially the 3 and 4-year-old. But family members are speaking out to say that these boys were inseparable. They were best friends. They loved the outdoors. They loved fishing. They loved mud trucks, just all boy, basically. And they were best friends. And they were inseparable, essentially, from what's being said. Laura was a stay-at-home mom. Chad was the breadwinner. They lived in New Richmond, which is a small town. And it's being said by a neighbor actually did an interview where he said that Chad was always yelling at his children and his wife, that he just seemed very abusive in the verbal sense. That's what one of the neighbors has said. And this neighbor lives directly across from them. And he said all the time he would hear Chad yelling at the kids, yelling at his wife, that he was always like in a bad mood, it seemed. Chad, as far as his history with the law, his past history includes some traffic violations, and he was arrested in 2010 for allegedly choking his father, Keith Doerman. Those charges would be dropped because when it came time to testify, Keith did not show up to testify for the prosecution. So they essentially had to drop the case because their main witness, who was the one that was assaulted, would not testify. Now, Chad's dad, Keith, has spoke about this. A media outlet was able to get Chad's dad on the phone, and he says that the situation that took place in 2010 was just a big misunderstanding. That's why it was dropped, but essentially that's not why it was dropped. It was dropped because he did not show up for court, right? He did not show up to testify. So he says that was a big misunderstanding, the whole thing, and that's why it was dropped. Keith also says that his son was a loving dad, a super father, and that the man that he saw at the bond hearing is not his son. He said that his son must have snapped, something must have happened because his son's eyes looked hollow, they looked dark, and that did not look like his son. He also says that he has not got a chance to talk to his son, that he has tried to make contact with his son. He's called the DA to see if he could talk to his son, and nobody's letting him talk to his son, which rightfully so. Like that man, Chad doesn't deserve to talk to anyone. Um, at the bond hearing, well, let me back this up a little bit. So on June 15th, something went awry at the Doerman household. And it is being said that Chad took his three boys, 3, 4, and 7, and brought them outside and lined them up and started shooting them execution style. I don't know if he lined them up by age or what, but one of the boys took off running. And I don't have like any confirmation on this, but this is just my mind trying to like make this make sense. I feel like he brought them outside, and this is what's being said. He brought them outside, lined them up, and shot them. Right? I'm wondering if when he lined them up, 3, 4, and 7, maybe he shot the 3-year-old, and maybe the 7-year-old was just like, "Whoa, what just happened?" And then by the time he shot the 4-year-old, it really dawned on the 7-year-old, "Holy, Dad is shooting us." And maybe it was a 7-year-old that took off running. I mean, it could have been any one of them, but we do know that one of the little boys took off running to run from his dad, and his dad actually hunted him down and drug him back to the house, back to the yard, and shot him as well. The mom did try to intervene, and she was shot. Um, the stepdaughter, Alexis, she took off running as well, and they lived directly like across from a police station as well. So it's like neighbors, police station. She was running to the police station and she ran uh, before she got to the police station, she came upon a car and she told the lady in the car that her stepdad was shooting her family. And the lady said, "Get in the car with me. Why don't you get in the car with me?" And she said that Alexis told her, "I can't leave my family. Just call 911." So the girl that called 911, the lady that called 911, then was nervous that because she was talking to the girl, that maybe the man would, come after her as well. She did drive down a little ways, called 911, but stayed where she could see the house and Alexis and everything. In the 911 call, you can hear her saying, like, we ran across this girl. She said her stepdad's killing everybody. We tried to talk her into getting into the car with us. She would not, but I can see her. She's going to the fire station. So she did go to the fire station. There were multiple calls made to 911 talking about what happened. Um, Everyone at the fire station was advised to get into the fire station, bring Alexis into the fire station. One of the neighbors said that he stayed standing outside so he could keep his eye on Chad, I guess probably to make sure that Chad didn't leave or whatever. But multiple, police officers, ambulances, they had uh, Air Life on like alert, on standby. They were instructed to turn their sirens off, that way not to alert Chad that they were coming, so he would not run. So everybody's like turning their sirens and everything off as they're going. They get there, and Chad is just sitting on the steps of the house. It's really wild to see him just sitting there. He has a gun laid beside him. I don't know if you guys watched the video from yesterday, but I'm going to pull it up just a little bit. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but just the part where they get to the house and Chad's reaction. It was really wild because he seemed just so unfazed, just so unfazed by what happened. Just sitting on the steps. It was really, really, really confusing. So we're going to go ahead and watch a piece of the video that I uploaded yesterday. I'm going to try to put the link in the chat if anybody wants to come up and kind of talk about the situation. Thank you, Zuna. What was he wearing in court? He doesn't deserve to even get a bond. 20 million was too little. Justice can't come soon enough. So he was wearing what's called a suicide vest. They call them a suicide vest. They call them, it's something else, like a pickle something, but it's basically where it's like bulletproof. You can't turtle shell. Yeah, I said pickle something. It's called a turtle shell. Thank you. Or turtle suit. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead. This is when the cops are getting there. Mind you, they all know pickle suit. Okay, then it is pickle something. Pickle suit, turtle suit, suicide vest. So this is, I have the whole footage of like the cop like on the way there, and I add closed captioning so we could see what they're saying because closed captioning was not on any of them that I watched. So I went ahead and added that so we could hear, what they're being told as they're on their way. Is advising them that a male shot the entire family. So let's go ahead, let's get to when they get there. So this is when the first two officers get to the scene.
Hey, no. We need to come from this side where we can see them. Don't take cover behind her. We see them. We're going to approach from this side. We got cover.
So right there, one of the neighbors is like trying to tell the cops, like, he's over there, and they're like, we see him. We're going to take cover over here.
Right here.
Take cover. We gotta go. 29 and 63 attack that.
Show us your fucking hands now. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up now. Stand up. Stand the fuck up.
Y'all look at this. There's the weapon laying beside him, the weapon that he killed those three boys with. And the black box to the left is one of the boys. Or it may be covering up all of the boys. I really don't know. It may be covering up, they may be right beside each other. I'm not sure. But that box, and y'all, this is so freaking, I watched this a lot, because I was adding closed captionings and things. So I watched this video several times. And I noticed at certain times in the videos, you can actually see what looks like a shoe, like a black shoe at times, and it is just heartbreaking.
Go ahead and fly whenever any
Get your hands out here. Cover 21. Send the air. I got it.
Man, I ain't got to hurt nobody. We're completely sober. Never did drugs
63, we're 21. Get the EMS over here.
Well, I did drugs in a split, but I don't do drugs now. I'm sober. I'm not trying to fight you.
63.
Get your butt inside. Gatlin, get your butt inside.
We on primary?
Now.
29, we got 3
Main.
Gatlin.
63, we're 21. Have EMS respond over here.
You're clear, they're being advised. 63, do you want them to respond to the Laurel Lindale address? Where exactly do you need them?
We're right in the front yard. What are you doing, man?
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt
You
nobody.
got anything on you? No, I ain't got nothing.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt anybody. Well, first off, you piece of crap, you're handcuffed. No crap, you're not gonna hurt anybody. But second off, you already hurt people. You already hurt the most important people in your life, your children. And yeah, I do want to say, there is one of the children is further out, closer to the road. I just thought about that because later on in the footage, when they're walking him to get in the car, there's another box closer to the end of the road. So that first initial box may have been 2 of the children, and that box closer to the road may have been of the child that tried to get away.
Nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing.
I ain't mad.
Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him.
All right.
He won't bite you.
What a
What's
saint.
going on, man?
Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
What a saint. What a saint. Telling this cop, you know, the dog won't hurt you, but just don't reach for him. Don't try to pet him or anything, because he might then. Oh, what a saint you are to talk to this officer and tell him how not to get bitten by your dog. Like, do you think you're earning some points here? Like, just don't reach for him. You know, he shouldn't bite you, though. What the heck?
I'm gonna
I
get
ain't
you
gonna
here
do
in a
nothing. I ain't running
second.
away. You can do whatever you want.
I'm not gonna run away. Good, because I would have shot you in the back. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but. Okay, yeah, let me correct that. Okay, so one of the children was in the one black box. It's being said another one of the children was in the house, but that kind of confuses the line them up and shot them execution style right in the line. But I do remember there were reports that one was still in the house. So I guess as more information comes out, because there's not a lot out yet, he gave a confession, but he did not tell why. Other than what we know is the prosecution stated at his bond hearing that this was not on a whim, that he actually planned this.
Here. You the only one else inside the house?
There's
What?
You the only one else inside the house?
Yeah.
Sit down right here.
My daughter, she ran over to the fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in the cage.
and I feel confident in saying I think he would have shot his stepdaughter had he been able to. You know, he's talking like, "Oh, my stepdaughter ran over to the fire station, so she's over there. She's good." But I think he would have shot her. So here's the bond hearing.
State of Officer Chad Doerman, 2023 CRA 1975. This matter is before the court today for purposes of
The black box is where the children were. That's why they have that box there.
bond hearing. Mr. Callan, you were here on behalf of Mr. Doerman, Mr. DeCalvi, Mr. Gast on behalf of the state of Ohio.
Look how he
Mr. Callan,
looks.
Mr. Bond, go ahead, sir.
Look how he looks.
He is 32 years old.
We're gonna skip this, but they asked for a $75,000 bond. They asked for a $75,000 bond because he's married, he has a job. I'm sorry, but I think he's probably headed for a divorce. He has a job, and they say that his mom Gloria and his dad Keith will will sign for his bond. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through them trying to get his bond at $75,000. I'm mind blown that they would do that. I'm going to bring up the state and what they're going to say about this.
Mr. Gast handling the bond. Judge, we've got law enforcement with us here today. Our office has been involved. Lots of people in our office have been involved with law enforcement throughout yesterday, afternoon, evening, all the way through this morning. And the facts I have for you at this point are as follows. The trauma that this man has inflicted on his family, the community, law enforcement, first responders, and all of the rest of us who have any idea what's going on here is unspeakable. There's been a full admission in this case, Judge. The case is still new. We're still discovering facts. But the evil horror of what we know is impossible to process. In an act of just incomprehensible cruelty, the father that stands before you lined up his 3 young boys, and he executed them in his own home with a rifle. They were ages 3, 4, and 7, Judge. In an act of desperation to save her children, the mother at some point grabbed the gun the father was wielding to attempt to protect them. We know that one of the boys was able to flee into the field and move home. And again, we know from his admission, father hunted that boy down, drove him back to the property, and executed him in front of witnesses. The mother was shot through the hand in her attempt to protect her children. Judge, I asked the court setting this bond to just begin to imagine their fear. This was the man that every day they woke up looking to for protection, love, guidance in all things. Man they trust more than any other person on earth. Person they rely upon to keep them safe from harm. He was their world. He was their guardian. And he executed them in cold blood. We know that from his admission. By that same admission, Judge, he has committed one of the most monstrous, craven, cowardly acts that could ever be our misfortune. To make things even more disturbing, Judge, this was no haphazard act. Again, by his own admission, he planned the events of this day. This did not happen on a whim. He's confessed to what I believe is the worst crime, at least I hope, that I'll see in my lifetime. I hope it's the worst fact pattern that ever comes before this court. Judge.
Trying to squeeze it out. Doesn't it look like he's like trying to squeeze out a tear or something? I don't know, because like if anybody had any real like understanding of what they did, like say something weird happened and he just went into this like, okay, for instance, like people with PTSD, they can black out, right? People with PTSD can black out in a moment and it'll take a minute for them to snap back in, right? Just say he had PTSD, I don't know, and he blacked out and committed these crimes. But now was of the understanding of what happened. He realized it. He would not sit there needing to go, you know what I'm saying? Like he would just be like bawling. He would be bawling.
It's important for the court to know and the bond we're going to request today, for the court to understand Doerman County deputies, Monroe Township Fire and EMS, and other first responders bravely respond to the scene where they don't know what's going on. They did not know what they're facing, and they come into a scene that no one can ever be prepared for. No law enforcement training, no training of any kind prepares you. It's easy to forget that these are men and women with families, children, feelings, emotions. They're not some automaton performing a delegated function. They're people. They were required to give CPR to gunshot children, 3, 4, and 7-year-old children. They held these boys in their arms, knowing there was nothing they could do to save them. How long do those scars last? The day do you wake up from that and you're healed? How do you unsee such an abomination? Bond factors this court needs to consider today are set forth in Criminal Rule 46, nature and circumstance of the crime charged, and specifically whether the defendant used or had access to a weapon, including the seriousness of the offense. It's the most serious offense that we have on the books, Judge. This is it. You can't commit a more serious offense. So the nature of the crime charge is the worst crime that can be charged. Did he have access to a weapon? Yes, obviously he did. The weight of the evidence against the defendant at this point, Judge, we stand here with a full admission of the defendant. That also goes to the confirmation of the defendant's identity, and witnesses on scene did see at least part of what happened. Next, the court is to consider the likelihood this person would return to court if a bond were issued. Again, this is the most heinous crime with the most severe penalty under the law that we presented to the grand jury. That alone would be a major factor in discouraging a person from availing himself to this court or any other. And the thought to flee and the likelihood of flight is great in the state's opinion. The danger he poses to the community is a factor that this court can consider, and I think with the facts in front of you, Judge, we can't name a person that poses a greater threat to the community. As his prior record goes, Judge, it is fairly minimal. He was charged with domestic violence in 2010. He is not, to my knowledge, on probation committee control. Judge, the facts of this case are hopefully like no other we will ever see. When this case gets indicted in the Court of Common Pleas, I am certain that a no bond hearing will be held, and I would hope that would be granted. But at this point, this juncture, we're going to ask this court to issue a bond we've never asked for before. I'm going to ask for a bond of $20 million. I hope I never need to request such a bond.
Look at him. Look at him.
Thank you. Dave.
Look at him, the way he cut his eyes at the prosecutor. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the way he's looking at him. Oh, it looks could kill, you guys. Look at that. I just noticed that. They do have the death penalty. It is by lethal injection, so I'm sure they will. Zuna and thank you so much for becoming members. Thank you. Let's watch it when he asks for the $20 million bond. And he says, I hope I never need to request such a bond again. He literally shoots a look at him.
Thank you. Date for
bond we've never asked for before. I'm going to ask for a bond of $20 million. I hope I never need to request such a bond.
Thank you. Date for preliminary hearing.
The date for the preliminary hearing, Judge, is 6/26. Objection.
The preliminary hearing will be set for June 26th at 1 p.m. At this point in time, bond's going to be set in the amount of $20 million cash or surety. Anything else at this time, Mr. Gast?
No, Judge.
Mr. Comment, anything further?
Nothing at this
All
time.
right, thank you.
Okay, so he said something there, and from what's being speculated, he asked for protective custody. He said something like CCO2 or something like that. I heard through other creators talking about this that they are of the understanding that he was like CCO2, like protective custody, like I'll stay in protective custody. So he's trying to make sure that he will be in protective custody, which I'm sure he will. I mean, I don't feel like he should, but throw him to the wolves. You know what I'm saying? You're welcome. I did notice through the closed captioning there were some that I got wrong. Not that I got wrong. So my software, you push this button and it will add the closed captionings. However, they're like 40% wrong. So even though it adds them for you, you have to go through and watch it, and then you have to go through and you have to fix all the mistakes, which is a lot. Like where it said hearing and it was like spelled HERRING. That was what the software put, and I didn't catch it to change it. I also noticed where it said they said in this court, but it said in Discord. So that was another one that I did not catch. But I like to do closed captionings because a lot of times people can't hear. You know what I'm saying? These courts, they can be kind of low. So yeah, this is a $20 million bond. I don't think that he should have gotten a bond at all. I don't know if this is some sort of stipulation because I noticed where they said just for like this hearing, we're asking a bond, but like at the next we won't or something like that. So I don't know if it's like standard protocol that they usually set a bond at the first arraignment, but he will have his preliminary hearing on the 26th, which is that's Monday. So he will have a preliminary hearing on Monday. He has not been granted a phone call, to my knowledge. Like I said, His dad has spoke to media, and his dad said he's not heard from him. Nobody has heard from him, and that they have been trying to make contact with him. Dad says once again that this is not his son. He doesn't know how this happened. That doesn't look like his son standing there. I also want to note, you guys, that just let's see, this was done. Okay, 4 days. 4 days before he carried out these brutal killings on his children, he changed his profile to include photos of them, right? So this is his Facebook account. And June 11th at 11:30 a.m., he made this his profile picture of his children. He also, June 11th, 11/27th, he made this his cover photo with his 3 boys, his 3 babies. And here's his mom. Grandma loves this picture. Here they are again. And here he is with the boys fishing. And here he is with his wife and the mother of his children. He may have called an attorney, maybe, and maybe that's why he didn't call his parents. Maybe he knew, hey, you know what? I only get one call. I need to call a lawyer, I don't know. But here's the mother of the children. She was shot in the hand. And I did hear, and this is just speculation, that there was rumors that she was wanting a divorce, and that might have been why this took place, because she was wanting, a divorce. But it's been said by one neighbor that he was abusive. He drank a lot, that he heard that this neighbor says that he heard this man yelling at his wife and kids daily, that he yelled at them. Let's see. We're going to watch some of some interviews by some of the neighbors. And I did post the link, and I'll post it again if anybody wants to come up and kind of just chat about this. He confessed, according to prosecution, this was not on a whim. This was planned. And considering that he changed his profile pictures just 4 days ahead of time, leads me to believe that around that time, he was thinking about it. Can you post it in Discord or email it? Email it to me, Lulu. Can you email it to me? All right, so let's.
I'm shocked, to be honest with you. We moved here 6 years ago, and the place is great, and New Richmond's coming up, and you just hate to see anything like this anywhere.
All of a sudden I hear boom, boom, and at like 5 more, I'm like, that's 7 shots. That's shots. Like, there's no way. So I was freaking out like this before I got ready and everything, and I don't know, man. Before that, I saw 2 cars right here on this street zoom as fast as 2 million hospitals. Like, something's going down.
I spoke to another neighbor who actually lives on Laurel Lindale Road where this shooting happened. He says this is a type of tight-knit community where everyone knows their neighbors. And so he believes he knows this family. And so he was just devastated. Again, so many people just still processing this horrific tragedy. We're live tonight in Monroe Township. Lindsay Stone, WWT News 5.
Yeah, Lindsay, oftentimes with these tragedies, we see memorials, flowers, things like that start to take shape. Have you seen anything like that at the school?
Stephen, I did walk around the school before we started our live shot tonight, and we didn't see anything like that, teddy bears, flowers, anything like that. But I am anticipating that could potentially happen tomorrow morning, again, when those grief counselors are going to be here. And we know a lot of community members are planning to be here at 9 a.m. to just gather with one another and try to process this moving forward, Stephen.
They did put up a tent in front of the home that now has stuffed animals and bears and things like that. And now, while in the video, you could hear the mother screaming, they're dead, aren't they? They're dead, aren't they? that he took my life from me. He took my life. They're just babies. She was not actually notified that they were in fact dead, and she was already at the hospital. So she was sent to the hospital because she was shot in the hand. They did not confirm with her until later that the boys had in fact all passed away. So once the cops got there, like as soon as they got cuffs on him, one cop ran over to the nearest kid. And you can't tell what he's doing, but I would imagine he's, performing CPR and things like that. But the kids were basically dead already, like by the time EMS got there. He did this to hurt his wife for wanting a divorce. I know that's what a lot of people are speculating because it's been said that she was wanting a divorce. So people are speculating that.
Lindsay Stone continuing our team coverage tonight. Lindsay, thank you so much. Now, this triple homicide investigation.
There was a couple of more. Let's see. I'll put it in a private Discord. Okay. I can check Discord in just a second.
Eighteen-year-old Seth Trees lives a couple houses down. See this massive police presence up here?
It's weird. It's unheard of.
Hold on, let me. This is just some clips from Annie Elise's video where she took some of the news clips.
Crazy.
Tell me what it's like around here.
Quiet, people mind their business.
Nothing like that ever happens out here. This is a quiet country and very nice area. So to hear this, it's terrible.
Deputies say when they arrived, they found Chad Doerman, the kid's father, sitting on the home steps, his boys laying in the yard. He was taken into custody and questioned by detectives.
If it gets to a point where you get that mad, I mean, walk away. Don't, in no way harm your spouse or your children. I mean, come on, just walk away. That's gonna take, and don't hurt nobody.
Grim day in Claremont County that started around 4:15 when a woman called 911 saying her babies had been shot. Around the same time, Misty Hockey was driving to Kroger and saw a teen girl running for help.
She was running with a little black lab, and she was screaming, "Call 911, call 911." She says, "My stepfather is shooting everyone in my household."
Hockey called 911 as police rushed to the scene on Laurel Lindell Road.
I wanted to get her in the car, but she just refused to leave her family. And that just says testament of how much she loved them.
Despite everyone saying it's a quiet neighborhood and everyone is very nice.
Yeah, I watch Annie Elise. I really enjoy her.
That 32-year-old Chad Doerman is charged with aggravated murder. He's being held without bond at the Claremont County Jail and will be arraigned in just a couple hours here in Claremont County at the municipal court. Then Sheriff's Office says more charges could be added. Now, the boys were found shot at a home near the corner of Laurel Lindell Road and Claremontville Laurel Road. We learned that an unknown woman called 911 screaming that her babies have been shot. And just 3 minutes later, a separate caller who had driven by called 911 and said that they had seen an underage girl running down the road saying, quote, her father was killing everyone. Now, when the sheriff's deputies came to the house, that's when they found Doerman sitting outside on a step. They also found the 3 boys unresponsive in the yard with gunshot wounds. Now, we know that they did try life-saving measures until Monroe Fire and EMS arrived, but the boys did die at the scene. Now, the boys' mother, a 34-year-old woman, was also outside of the home when officials arrived. We learned that she also had a gunshot wound to the hand and was transported to UC Medical Center. Now, you guys have been hearing from a neighbor who was home at the time of the incident, and he spoke with us, and he told us really what type of person Chad Doerman is and what he heard and saw from the scene.
We heard gunshots and I didn't know what it was. So I went to the store and come back and I, found out really what happened. And unfortunately I did see the kids laying in the yard. The guy was very unstable. He was an unstable person. He was just very mean. He was very angry. Every day yelling at his wife, dogging her, downgrading the kids, just very angry. And if they didn't do what he said, and I've seen it firsthand, but I never thought that he would do that.
That's horrible. That is so horrible. This is the guy that lives like directly across from him. Let me go into Discord really quickly to see if I can pull up what you were talking about. Oh, wow. All right, let's see. All right. Yeah, Annie Elise is who kind of like I like aspire to be like. I really enjoy her content. I love how she like stays out of drama, and I just love how she's just like so focused. Okay, so this is okay. Chad Christopher Doerman, date of birth, case number, aggravated murder, aggravated murder, aggravated murder. So there's just like his arrest details right there. The case number. So he's being charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder. I don't know if there's any other charges besides that, but he was arrested for choking his dad, but those charges never went through. So other than some traffic violations, he hadn't been in any trouble. So technically, getting a gun would have been no problem for him. He doesn't have any charges associated with his wife's injury. That's true. That should be like attempted murder. Let's see. Yeah, the police was yelling. The police was yelling at Chad, but Chad was yelling at the dog to get back inside, and I couldn't understand what the dog's name was. Yeller something. The closed captioning picked up something else, and I just left it as that because I don't know what the dog is. Oh, thank you, Amanda. Thank you. I just love the way she's like so focused on it, and um, that's kind of she's like who I kind of look to for like inspiration at times. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna continue to keep up with this case. I am just the motive is what's really not that anything can make this make sense. Um, Nothing can ever make anything make sense for why you kill your children. But I'm looking for something. You know what I'm saying? Like for him to say something. I mean, he did confess, but still, we don't know why he did it. They didn't say that at court in the hearing. They didn't say, "Oh, he gave us an explanation." Now, Gatlin, the dog, maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was Gatlin or something like that. But they didn't give us. They didn't even allude to the fact that he gave any reasoning other than they said that he's been planning this. That he has been planning this. So, word is that she was going to leave him. I don't know. He still could have got visitation. I mean, my goodness. Oh, thank you, Jay Bird. Thank you. We're going to continue to keep up with it. And if anything else comes out, you guys, obviously, he has court Monday. And I don't know if they do, like if it'll be like a Zoom or if it'll be up on YouTube. But Monday, as soon as we find out what happens at the preliminary hearing, we'll go live. We'll talk about it. I'll keep you guys updated on it. Are you guys keeping up with that submarine boat ship situation? His reaction when the police came was bizarre. So bizarre. I'm not drunk. I'm not going to hurt anybody. You just killed 3 kids. You just killed 3 kids, but you're not going to hurt anybody. Okay, so you're done for the day. You've hit your quota of how many people you want to kill today. I'm obsessed with the sub. See, I was contemplating talking about it. I was contemplating doing like a little live video talking about it, or maybe going on TikTok and talking about it. I did consider doing that. No, they haven't located it yet, but they're out of air now. Yeah. Okay, babe. All right. So, yeah. They still haven't found it. We might go live over on Elle Bee and talk about it because there was an update just, oh, wow, just a minute ago. But it's just what experts fear that they're running out of oxygen, which I thought they were going to run out of oxygen last night. So, yeah, let me get caught up on this, and then we'll do a live over there about it, okay? You guys let me all your thoughts on this story. If you guys have any information that I haven't come across yet, please feel free to put it in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to scream. He more or less was polite to the police that arrested him. I know. He was polite to the police. Like, what the heck? You guys, give this video a thumbs up. Leave me all your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you guys over on Elle Bee shortly. Goodbye, everyone.